See the storm set in your eyes, see the thorn twist in your side. I'll wait for you. Sleight of hand and twist of fate, on a bed of nails she makes me wait. And I wait without you. With or without you, with or without you. Through the storm we reach the shore. You give it all, but I want more. And I'm waiting for you. With or without you. With or without you, I can't live. With or without you. And you give yourself away. And you give yourself away. And you give, and you give, and you give yourself away. My hands are tied, my body bruised. She got me with nothing to win and nothing left to lose. And you give yourself away, and you give yourself away, and you give, and you give, and you give yourself away. With or without you, with or without you, I can't live. With or without you. With or without you, with or without you, I can't live. With or without you, with or without you. Every breath you take and every move you make, every bond you break, every step you take, I'll be watching you. Every single day say, every game you play, every night you stay, I'll be watching you. Every smile you fake, every claim you stick, I've been watching you.
Packing on board ferries and trains before a midnight deadline came and went. Passengers on both sides of the English Channel raced to cross the border between France and the UK as new COVID-19 travel restrictions come into force. We'll be speaking to our correspondent in the UK, where the daily infection rate has hit another record high. As France tries to control a fifth wave of infections, the government announces that the end-of-year festivities will be less joyous, with further changes to vaccination rules also being brought in. The Prime Minister says the Omicron variant is now spreading at lightning speed. And one of Gabon's leading football coaches stands accused of grooming, sexually abusing and raping hundreds of young players. The soccer scandal was unearthed earlier this week by one British newspaper. Hello and a very warm welcome back to the France 24 newsroom. I'm Thomas Waterhouse. The British government is gearing up to hold urgent talks this weekend to discuss the extent to which the Omicron variant of COVID-19 has taken root. On Friday, authorities announced for the third day on the trot that another daily record had been reached, with a total of 93,045 new cases confirmed. As the kingdom battles to keep the lid on the virus's spread, huge crowds of people who plan on spending the Christmas break here in France arrived in their droves at London's International Railway Station and at English ports, hoping to make it over the border before fresh travel restrictions were brought in. For more, let's bring in our UK correspondent Bénédicte Pavio, who is standing by. Bénédicte, the annual Yuletide getaway to join family and friends on both sides of the English Channel has been somewhat disrupted this year.
Disrupted and precipitated by these new travel rules announced and imposed by France to try and stop the propagation of course, COVID and particularly the Omicron highly transmissible variant. And yes, it's been a big getaway in ports, in stations, train stations, and also in airports. But it's also been the big cancellation because, of course, many British people like to go to France, Paris, the Alps, for example, for skiing. And so a lot of them just couldn't make the deadline. So there have been a huge amount of cancellations of restaurants, hotels, chalets in skiing. The British are well known flocking to the Alps, for example, to go and get some much needed rest and beauty of the landscape and of the culinary taste, but that is just not on the cards. But of course, what we've got way into this pandemic, almost 2 years now, is family reunions that won't be happening. Much awaited, much wanted, much looked forward to family reunions that have been completely disrupted now. Of course, for French citizens, that is a compelling reason they can go in and out of the United Kingdom to France, but that is not the case anymore for either British tourists or any business travellers.
And as I was saying, Benedict, the UK's COVID caseload has hit record levels for a third day, and yet there's no sign of any kind of lockdown or further restrictions being announced as yet from Boris Johnson's government.
Well, I think the operative words in your question are "as yet," because certainly here in England, I think the scientists are very much indicating, or we've seen in a leak of minutes in the last 24 hours of a meeting 24 hours ago, that actually there is a real recommendation to have stricter measures. So far, we've got masks wearing that is mandatory, for example, in public transport, but actually quite light compared to, for example, Scotland, Northern Ireland or Wales, where there are stricter measures. But as far as the record number of daily coronavirus cases being reported across the UK, you're right, for the third day in a row, and much predicted and announced last Sunday by the Prime Minister himself, Boris Johnson, talking about a tidal wave of COVID descending upon the United Kingdom, especially Omicron. There is a surge in infections driven by the Omicron variant. Over 93,000 confirmed cases reported on Friday. That's nearly 5,000 more than on Thursday. And to put that in context, according to government figures, the number of COVID cases in the UK has increased by 39% in the last 7 days. That's roughly 133,000. Deaths remain stable. The latest figures we've got as far as Omicron hospitalizations is 65 patients with Omicron in England. But we believe that those are very much set to rise in the coming days. That is what we have been told by the top medical and scientist advisors.
Benedict Pavio, our correspondent in London, thank you very much. Well, France's health minister has just announced that between 7 and 10% of new cases on French soil are suspected to be caused by the Omicron variant. He's also announced that a third dose of a vaccine will be mandatory for all health workers and fire crews from the 30th of December. And the health authority here will also be issuing a recommendation early next week on the voluntary vaccination of children across the past 3 days. The 7-day moving average of fresh COVID infections has been over 50,000 per day. On Friday, the country's Prime Minister Jean Castex had already announced some other changes, as Alex Orcott explains.
It's the French government's one wish this holiday season, to keep citizens safe and to get more people immunised. The authorities are looking to pass a bill that would create a vaccination pass. If accepted, a negative test will no longer be enough to set foot in restricted public spaces, or let alone to travel.
We accept that this is a major constraint for unvaccinated people, but it's needed because the beds in our emergency services and intensive care units are for the most part taken up by people who haven't been vaccinated.
In a bid to speed up booster shots against the Omicron variant, the time to get a third dose has been shortened from 5 to 4 months. Castex also announced additional restrictions banning large public gatherings ahead of New Year's Eve.
Unauthorised gatherings and alcohol consumption in public places will be banned on New Year's Eve. And we will ask local councils not to organise large-scale events such as concerts or firework displays.
Almost 60,000 infections have been reported in France in the past 24 hours. The government is hoping that these new measures will scale down pandemic surges.
In other world news, Washington has revealed that it's prepared to start negotiations with Russia. But Joe Biden's national security advisor Jake Sullivan says the US will be putting its own concerns on the table first. That news came after Moscow issued a list of conditions that it says are essential for diffusing the crisis in Ukraine. Russia says it's ready to sit down to security talks with the US as early as this Saturday. James Vazina picks up the story.
It's just one of the requests that Russia says will de-escalate the situation around Ukraine.
The movement of the NATO alliance's infrastructure continues. It must end. We need to return to the positions which the two parties, Russia and NATO, held in 1997, when the founding act on our relations was signed.
In all, 8 demands, as Moscow hopes to turn back the hands of time and reassert its strength in Eastern Europe. The withdrawal would see NATO troops retreat from much of the region, including Poland and former Soviet Balkan states. Meanwhile, Russia also requests that Ukraine be banned from entering the alliance, threatening a similar response as the Cuban Missile Crisis, should their requests go unanswered. Proposals that don't sit comfortably with NATO, although the United States say that the requests mean that Putin hasn't made a decision to invade Ukraine.
We're going to put on the table our concern with Russian activities that we believe harm our interests and values. I have high confidence in our capacity to see what has been a significant Russian military buildup in the vicinity of Ukraine and in Ukraine itself, in Crimea and other places.
US officials say that Russia has positioned around 70,000 troops along its border with Ukraine and that it's planning for a possible invasion of the country as early as next year. The conflict between Moscow and Kiev broke out in 2014 when Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula. An estimated 13,000 lives have been lost over the past 7 years.
Next, at least 20 dead, 7 missing, 2 more injured and over 300,000 others having sought emergency shelter. That's the latest from the disaster agency in the Philippines concerning the human cost of this week's typhoon there. The violent weather system hit southern and central regions on Thursday with sustained winds of 195 kilometres per hour. Relief efforts are now well underway in heavily damaged and drenched communities.
It's a miserable way for these Filipino residents to round off 2021. Their lives turned upside down by one of the strongest storms to hit the archipelago this year. President Rodrigo Duterte says he fears the casualty figures will continue to rise and that the pandemic has left them weakened, struggling to cope with such a disaster.
Itong COVID na naubos ang pera natin. So we're trying to scrimp how much we can raise so that we can marshal it to the areas affected.
The president says he plans to visit the central and southern regions pummeled by the Category 5 super typhoon that brought winds approaching 200 kilometres per hour. More than 300,000 people fled to emergency shelters as the terrifying storm approached, and some 18,000 of those are still unable to return due to the widespread devastation. Work is now underway to clear the fallen trees, flattened buildings and downed power lines, as well as trying to salvage vast swathes of rice fields that are now underwater.
To allegations in Gabon now, which the president has described as being very serious and unacceptable. One of the country's most prominent football coaches, Patrick Assoumou Eyi, who trained the national under-17 squad until 2017, has been accused of grooming, sexually abusing or raping hundreds of young players under his watch. He's now been suspended. The whole scandal was uncovered by the British newspaper The Guardian. That paper claims that alleged victims had not contacted Gabonese police because they have no faith in the country's justice system. Let's listen now to how the sports minister in Gabon has been reacting.
J'ai demandé à ma collègue de la justice.
I have asked my colleague in charge of justice to extend the investigation to all national sports federations, because from now on, it is a question of eradicating from the national sports environment potential sexual predators who would sully in the dark and with total impunity the values of sports, such as respect, physical integrity, ethics, etc.
L'éthique, etc.
And we're ending this latest World News Summary inside one of the French capital's cultural venues. A new exhibition titled Out of the Shadows is now on show at Paris's Quai Branly Museum, an exhibition showcasing objects from one particular pocket of Congo. France 24's Julien Sauvager has been to find out more.
Masks used during the rite of passage to adulthood for young men. Statuettes with healing properties and others that are simply decorative, all intermixing to give a sense of the diverse cultures that have long been wiped from history, whether deliberately or not. Like forgotten storybooks, major events are resurfacing thanks to these works, while others still remain a complete mystery.
Masks were part of public life. They were therefore easier to get hold of and easier to understand, even for the ethnologists. On the other hand, lots of sculptures and statues were kept for worship in more private places, so they're ultimately not as important. Some objects allow us to look further into history and finally understand that African history is about more than just the colonial era.
While acknowledging the gaping holes in our knowledge of the use, meaning and importance of some of these objects, the exhibition tries to see the cultures from a new perspective, both before and during colonization. Many of the pieces have been out of public view since they were first collected in the 19th and 20th centuries.
Even if the Ambala sculpture presents quite varied gestures and attitudes, this representation of the group, of the man holding a woman in front of him, and the two of them being carried is something very unique. We don't see this anywhere else.
This statue of the Jinda is another extreme rarity. It's said to have powers from the underworld that help find a culprit of an act of witchcraft, and there are only 3 examples left in the world. Above all, the exhibition hopes to show that the history of Africa, its peoples and traditions remain a vast area ripe for new discoveries.
Lyon's Coupe de France match at the second-tier side Paris FC was abandoned after half-time due to crowd trouble. With the score at 1-1, the match was interrupted by incidents in the stands, fans on the pitch and fireworks being thrown. Gaëtan Laura had given Paris an unexpected early lead, with Moussa Dembélé levelling late in the first half before the game was called off. It is the latest incident in a French season marred by crowd trouble. Lyon themselves saw their home game with Marseille abandoned less than a month ago. On Thursday, Strasbourg edged past leaders Valenciennes 1-0. Tonight's games feature a match between Troyes and Nancy, who are struggling in Liga and Ligue 2 respectively, and the only all-Ligue 1 fixture of the round as Rennes take on Lorient. There is also the potential for some giant killings, with Red Star FC hosting Monaco and fifth-tier sides Canet Rocheville and Fenny-Aulnois facing Marseille and Paris Saint-Germain. The Premier League's COVID-19 crisis continues, with 5 of the weekend's 10 games already postponed and clubs due to meet on Monday to discuss options. Liverpool's match with West Ham on Thursday went ahead despite 3 players missing the game with a suspected positive test, and Jurgen Klopp, amongst others, is unsure of the best course of action.
I'm not against stopping the league. I just don't see the 100% benefit of it.
We always want to play when we have the right conditions to do so, 100%. But we've been here in the other side of the table when we had all the arguments in the world not to play a football match and we end up playing it. So that's what I'm saying, that we need clarity, because then the fairness of the competition can be altered, and that wouldn't be fair.
Premier League chief Richard Masters has written to clubs urging players to get the vaccine and stressed the importance of the league completing the season, whilst Brentford boss Thomas Frank led calls for all matches to be called off until the 26th of December to enable a reset. Robert Lewandowski broke a Gerd Müller record as Bayern Munich thrashed Wolfsburg 4-0. Thomas Müller, who was celebrating his 400th German top-flight appearance, opened the scoring on 7 minutes before setting up Dayo Upamecano for a header in the second half to double Bayern's lead. Leroy Sané added a third 2 minutes later before Lewandowski scored his 43rd club goal of 2021 to break Müller's record for the most Bundesliga goals in a calendar year and cap off the victory that sends Bayern 9 points clear. Christian Eriksen's contract with Inter Milan has been terminated by mutual consent 6 months after he suffered a cardiac arrest during the summer's European Championships. The 29-year-old is prohibited from playing in Italy after having been fitted with a heart-starting device, but could continue his career in another country where the rules are different. Eriksen hasn't played since collapsing during Denmark's opening match at the Euros against Finland, but recently trained with Danish club Odense. The French women's handball team edged past Denmark to reach the final of the World Handball Championships. The Olympic gold medalists battled back from 4 goals down with 20 minutes remaining to secure victory by a single point, 23-22. France turned the ball over repeatedly in the early stages, allowing Denmark to take a 10-6 lead, but eventually found their scoring form and took the crucial lead with 3 minutes remaining. In the EuroLeague, Olympiacos claimed another solid home win by defeating Asvel 89-54 at the Peace and Friendship Stadium. The Freds had a slower start in attack, but their defence suffocated their opponents once again from the very beginning. A 2010 edge after 10 minutes turned into a 39-21 half-time margin that paved the way for Olympiacos, who are now 8-0 at home and 11-5 overall. Tyler Dorsey led the scoring with 19 points in just 21 minutes as his side produced another defensive masterclass at home. And Zenit St. Petersburg withstood a strong comeback from AS Monaco to gain an 85-74 road win and cement their place in the playoff positions. The visitors dominated the early stages and led by 17 points at the end of the first quarter, but the hosts responded strongly and it was 45-43 at half-time. Monaco had the better of the third quarter and held several narrow leads before Zenit went on an 11-0 run midway through the final period and held on from there, with Jordan Lloyd scoring 14 of his 20 points in the fourth quarter. 7 European rugby matches due to take place this weekend have been postponed due to COVID travel restrictions brought in by the French government. 2 European Champions Cup games had already been cancelled because of COVID cases in the Leinster and Osprey squads, while Saracens forfeited their match against Pau in the European Challenge Cup due to positive tests. Now a further 5 Champions Cup and 2 Challenge Cup matches have been postponed as residents must have a compelling reason to travel from the UK. Alexander Amotkilde continued his domination of the Super G on Friday, securing his 3rd consecutive victory in Italy. The Norwegian now boasts 5 triumphs in the Super G at the Alpine Skiing World Cup as he ramps up preparations ahead of the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing after finishing ahead of the Austrian pair of Matthias Meyer and Vincent Kriegmeier. Kilde's time of 1 minute 25.91 bested double Olympic champion Meyer by 0.2 of a second, and he will now look to make it 4 in a row during Saturday's downhill. Johannesburg, the defending biathlon World Cup champion, has won his first race of the season in France, ending a run of 17 races without victory. The Norwegian kept a clean shooting record in the men's 10km sprint to take the victory in 23 minutes 30.3 seconds and end a lengthy streak without a gold in either World Cup or World Championship competition. Burr finished just 7.2 seconds in front of Russia's Eduard Latipov to make it 53 race wins to his name now on the World Cup circuit.
Time now for French Connections, our weekly look at the intricacies of life here in France with Florence Villeneuve. Hi there. This week we're going to focus on contraception and abortion rights here in France. These are hard-earned rights that are considered fundamental, but women in France are still having to defend them. Let's start with contraception.
Well, contraception has been legal in France since 1967 when Parliament voted the so-called Neuwirth law. Now, like in other countries, the legalization of contraception, and in particular the birth control pill, really sparked major social change here in France. The pill became a symbol of sexual freedom for French women who became masters of their bodies and also their fertility.
Qu'est-ce que vous pensez que ça a apporté aux femmes?
Oh, bah, déjà beaucoup de liberté.
La liberté sexuelle, c'est important.
C'est très important, oui.
And today, Flo, the pill is still the #1 contraception method used by French women.
Absolutely. 33% of women use the pill as a method of contraception. Right behind it is the IUD, the intrauterine device. It's called a stérilet here in French. But in the past 10 years, what's interesting is the sale of contraceptive pills has dropped 30%. And this follows a series of quite alarming reports on the risks of blood clots as a side effect for certain contraceptive pills. So growing skepticism has triggered a drop in the use of contraception, particularly for young women. But the government says it's also a price issue. And so recently, the government announced it was making contraception completely free for any woman under the age of 25. Currently, 65% of contraception is reimbursed by France's very generous healthcare system, Sécurité Sociale. But for young women under the age of 25, it'll be completely free.
La pilule, ça vaut cher. C'est quelque chose qui devrait être accessible à tout le monde.
So while contraception is widely accepted by French society, when we talk about abortion, that's another story. It's still somewhat taboo here in France.
Absolutely. It's something people don't really talk openly about. Let's take a look at our acronym du jour, IVG, interruption volontaire de grossesse, so a voluntary interruption of pregnancy. It's the term people use when they talk about abortion here.
Right. Now, abortion has been legal in France since 1975, after the so-called Loi Veil was passed. It's named after Simone Veil, who was health minister, and she's seen as sort of the patron saint of women's rights here in France.
Absolutely, and the speech that she gave in Parliament for that legalization of abortion really has gone down in history. And what's interesting is a few years before that very famous speech that we can see some images of there, so in 1971, 343 women published a manifesto in the magazine Nouvel Observateur where they admitted that they had had an illegal abortion, and at the time that was punishable by 10 years in prison. Now, this became to be known as the Manifeste des 343 Salopes. It was signed by anonymous women, but also quite a few celebrities as well, including Simone de Beauvoir, Catherine Deneuve, and the lawyer Gisèle Halimi. Take a listen.
J'en ai voulu 3 et j'ai avorté 3 fois. La vérité, c'est que toutes les femmes avortent, y compris les femmes de députés, et les maîtresses des ministres, et tout le monde. Seulement, elles ne le disent pas. Et nous le disons.
So, Flo, today in France, 2 methods of abortion are legal, and both are reimbursed by France's public health system.
100% reimbursed. So first of all, you've got abortion by medication. It's also called medical abortion, so which ends pregnancy by taking pills, 2 pills, and women are allowed to take them up to 7 weeks into their pregnancy. About 70% of abortions in France are done this way. And the second method is abortion by vacuum aspiration, suction abortion, which requires surgery and anesthesia. And this can be performed up into 12 weeks into a woman's pregnancy. In 2020, 222,000 women had abortions in France. And keep in mind that it's estimated that 1 in 3 women will have an abortion in their lifetime.
So let's talk a little bit more about the process, because before having an abortion, 2 medical appointments are necessary, and they have to be separated by a 48-hour period of reflection. Meanwhile, French doctors can also refuse to perform the procedure.
That's right. They can invoke something that's called a clause de conscience. So this is a conscious clause. But if a doctor does refuse to give an abortion, they have to immediately refer the patient to another practitioner. And keep in mind that stopping someone from getting a desired abortion in France is very much illegal. It's called a délit d'entrave, so an illegal interference. It's punishable by 2 years in prison and a 30,000 euro fine.
Now, nearly 50 years after legalization, can't believe it's been that long, women's rights groups are calling for abortion rights here in France to be extended.
Absolutely. Now, women's rights groups are calling for the legal deadline to be extended from 12 weeks to 14 weeks, which is actually the case in other European countries like Spain and in Austria. Each year, between 2,000 and 5,000 French women have to go abroad to get abortions because they've gone beyond the legal limit here in France. Depending on where you live in France, it's more or less easy to get an abortion. Take a listen.
Vous avez des endroits où les femmes trouvent assez facilement, mais vous en avez d'autres qui sont, entre guillemets, des déserts médicaux, où pour qu'une femme puisse avoir accès à un avortement, mais c'est la galère.
Now, though polls suggest that a majority of French women are in favor of extending the legal deadline from 12 to 14 weeks, a bill that's aiming to do just this is actually stuck in Parliament. It's stuck in the labyrinth of Parliament. It's facing a lot of resistance from the Senate, which is very conservative. Doesn't seem to be a priority for the government as we head into the presidential election. So it's a reminder that when it comes to abortion rights, nothing is guaranteed.
That's all we have time for today. But in the meantime, you can tweet your questions to Flo at Flo Villeminot and check out our website, france24.com.
C'est le contrat, dans le fond, avant de faire la scène, qui explique mon âge, mon nom, les détails de la scène.
Some people do give consent for their videos to appear on porn sites legally, but far from all. Many have to fight constantly to get videos posted without their knowledge removed.
I thought I was done, you know what I mean? And boom, it's back up today, and I'm like...
Harassment, rape, and even child pornography. The quest for profit casts doubt on the integrity of these internet giants.
This is not an isolated incident. This is not an accident. This entire business model is designed to convey non-consensual content.
Watch our investigation into the dark side of the porn industry in Reporters on France 24 and France24.com.
%99% of all internet traffic, from this video to your Pokemon Go account to your family WhatsApp group, runs on a hidden network of undersea cables. Why should you care? Because modern life is increasingly dependent on those slinky subaquatic wires. And they get attacked by sharks from time to time. How do they work? What's the future for them? Join us today as we plunge the depths and ask how the internet travels across oceans. According to the authoritative Submarine Cable Map website, there are currently 493 active or actively under construction subsea internet cables crisscrossing the globe. These range from the relatively modest 300-kilometer Azerbaijan to Turkmenistan wire running under the Black Sea to the absolutely gargantuan 6,600-kilometer Marea cable linking Virginia Beach in the US with Bilbao in northern Spain. Marea weighs the same as 24 blue whales, apparently. The firms laying down this serpentine superhighway, worldwide there's now 1.5 million kilometers of undersea data wires, are cagey about how much it all costs. But professional estimates indicate a typical transoceanic cable should set you back between $300 and $400 million, which seems like a lot because they're not especially thick, typically around the girth of a garden hose, and that includes layers of protective thixotropic jelly around the all-important fiber optic core, plus multiple plastic sheaths and copper wiring to power the thing. But even so, on average they can ferry an awesome 100 gigabytes per second in data, with newer and forthcoming cables able to transmit 400 gigabytes per second. So how does so much data fit down such slim channels? Part of the answer is an extremely sophisticated data wrangling technique known as dense wavelength division multiplexing. Put simply, dense wavelength division multiplexing lets data providers use more than one wavelength of light to convey information fiber optically. Instead, several wavelengths are employed simultaneously and stacked, creating astonishing data speeds. This happens at buzzing, data center-like landing sites at either end of the cable. Are the cables just straightforward long wires? Not quite. Every 70 to 100 kilometers or so along the seabed, cables are punctuated with so-called repeaters. These essentially serve as amplifiers, keeping the signal strength up to par over long distances. That's why the cables incorporate copper conductors, by the way, carrying up to 10,000 volts of DC to power the repeaters. How are the cables laid? They're first coiled into vast cylindrical drums on specialized cable-laying ships. As much as a year's planning and charting will go into plotting the perfect transoceanic route. Bad locations for undersea cables include anywhere volcanic, or anywhere especially earthquake or mudslide prone, or anywhere heavily trawled by fishermen. The cable is spooled out the back of the ship at a sedate pace of around 10 kilometers an hour. If the ship encounters bad weather, the captain can decide whether to break off the cord, tie it to a buoy, and retreat to calmer waters. When the storm passes, the ship returns to the buoy and picks up where it left off. Accidents and outages on the cables can and do occur. In 2012, Hurricane Sandy in the US knocked out several key transatlantic cables, disrupting networks for hours. In 2011, the Fukushima earthquake in Japan caused similar online carnage. The vast majority of such disruptions, however, are the result of human carelessness, typically trawler nets or wayward ships' anchors. Cables situated close to the shore are significantly more at risk from such disruption. As such, the nearer to land a cable is, the more likely it'll be carefully armor-plated. Many are even dug into the seabed in long dedicated trenches, carved out using ship-drawn plows. Awesomely, sharks have been spotted nibbling on one of Google's subsea cables. Get your teeth into this 2014 clip. More sinister even than that, the US government has consistently warned of interference in the cables from hostile foreign powers like Russia or China. The US government should know all about that. Whistleblower Edward Snowden revealed in 2013 how the NSA had no qualms eavesdropping on fiber optic communications. The geopolitical implications of undersea cables are also fascinating. Last year, the Australian government intervened to prevent Chinese technology giant Huawei from installing a cable connecting Australia with the Solomon Islands. The fear is that China could use the link to gain access to Australia's sensitive internal networks. So who actually owns these cables? That's an interesting question. It's an expensive business, so historically nations or quasi-national telecom providers have picked up the bill. The world's biggest owner of cables remains America's AT&T, with a stake in some 230,000 kilometers of undersea cable. The second biggest owner is China Telecom. Frequently, cables are owned by groups or consortia of up to 50 separate owners, including tech firms, local government agencies, and other businesses. And while this model helps spread the initial cost, it's less helpful when something goes wrong and nobody can agree who has to put on a wetsuit and do something about it. Increasingly, big tech is recognizing its scope for growth is limited by the undersea cable network. So over the past few years, the overwhelming majority of investment in undersea cable infrastructure has come from companies like Facebook, which currently owns nearly 100,000 kilometers of cables. Google owns roughly the same amount. Amazon has its own massive private network, hooking up the online giant's mighty AWS data centers through cables traversing the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, plus the Mediterranean, and the Red Sea, and the South China Sea. The tech giants like to frame these vast environmentally disruptive infrastructure projects as civilization-enhancing largesse on their part. But they're also shareholder companies, remember, who know perfectly well that increasing the number of human beings online is the only way they can continue to grow. Hang on a second, you're probably thinking, what about Starlink? Isn't our old mate Elon about to make the internet wireless any day now? For now, cable is by far the cheapest and most efficient means of yeeting vast packets of data over incredibly long distances fast. Even normally bullish Musk says Starlink is only aimed at people who don't presently enjoy access to high-speed fiber. But who knows how that'll pan out in a decade or two. For now, the future is very much undersea cables. Only this summer, Google and Facebook announced a joint initiative to build an undersea cable named Apricot. Apricot will link up Singapore, Japan, Guam, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Indonesia by the year 2024. The longest subaquatic cable ever, a 45,000-kilometer billion-dollar monster called To Africa that will link up 33 nations, was just bankrolled by a Facebook-led consortium. What do you think? Will mankind's ingenious submarine network one day look as obsolete as the telegraph? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more totally wired tech content.
Right.
The ocean is Earth's life support system. No ocean, no us. My name is Sylvia Earle. For most of my life, I've had the joy of exploring the sea, studying the living systems that make our lives possible. But what I've seen in my lifetime is slipping away. It's now a race against time to find solutions. Today, a new generation of heroes are showing us what needs to be done to to restore health to the ocean. Creating a perpetual planet for generations to come. Fantastic. This is where I first fell in love with the ocean as a kid. It was here that I first breathed air underwater. And for me, it was transformative. I thought, this is going to be so great, I can get to see the fish and watch them and see what they do. What happened was, the fish came over and started looking at me. I thought, oh, wait a minute. It's supposed to be the other way around, right? Since I first breathed air underwater, I've been a part of the greatest era of exploration in the history of humankind. I've lived underwater for weeks at a time.
She has witnessed firsthand parts of our planet most could barely imagine.
I've helped design and build submersibles to explore further and deeper than ever before.
For the first time, a woman walks the seafloor beyond 1,000 feet.
It's a pleasure to introduce a scientist, an engineer, a teacher, and an explorer.
And founded organizations to explore and protect the sea.
Her deepness, Dr. Sylvia Earle.
But this era of discovery has been accompanied by immense loss. If we continue business as usual, we're in real trouble. We used to think the ocean was too vast for humans to harm. We were wrong. We've squandered the treasures of nature, pushing the ocean to the brink of collapse. But I still have great hope. Across the globe, a network of scientists are building on my life's mission to save the ocean.
For me, Sylvia Earle is an inspiration. We all are following her footsteps. She's allowed for so many more people, like from my generation, to move forward and advance their work.
Their pioneering work has taken our knowledge to new heights and depths of understanding. Now we know what previous generations could not know.
We're entering another mass extinction. We're losing species at an alarming rate.
We are the scientists who know what's going on, and it's our responsibility to make people aware for the sake of the planet and our own future.
Together, they are creating a global movement, and we all can be a part of it. Protecting the ocean as if our lives depend on it. Because they do. When I first began exploring, I marveled at the abundance of life that thrives in healthy coral reefs. But today, coral reef systems around the world are disappearing. This is about as bad as it gets. It was like looking at the face of climate change. There it is. Reefs are dying, and this is evidence of it right here. If we don't act now, coral reefs may be gone by the end of the century. There.
a fool. Oh, repeat wise man. For the man who don't think he's a fool, he control his destiny. But he's too cool for himself. For himself. For himself. Oh, I need.
You guys, I want to tell you a story. Are you here to see Valentino? In 08, Laguna Seca, MC, Brad Pitt, and a helicopter. Axel! Axel, let us in! Axel! Move over. Axel! Axel! Hey! Hey!
Axelotes? Hier aan de rand? No. Ja?
Tonight we got the mic on cruise with more luck than horseshit. While we fuse together like Ludacris, we move with 10 ton busters. Cosmopolitan, cosmonaut up in your knot again like aneurysms expand with wisdom. Musical mannerisms are parallel to cannibalism and animal instinct that's instinct, leaving suckers extinct when we combine the gravity nullifying physics of mind. Inebriating.
Yeah!
Grazie.
Yeah. Ciao.
Ciao.
Nice to see you. You enjoy the range?
Yeah, track's super fun.
Yeah. This is great, eh? But try go the other track. Go with the flat track.
Flat track, no jumps?
Yeah. Flat track, no jumps.
No jumps.
Maybe we can stay more close.
I'll try it.
As I proceed to give the people what they wanting. You make it some green, but not for glamour or fashion. I'm stacking cash until I can get moms a mansion. All from rapping. Nah, man, there's many plans like investing in land. It started all from impressing the fans with brand new flows. And you know, all the way from gangster clones to weirdos. Fools use those, but we ain't ripping. Get respect when you see this. You need us, or your rap's underdeveloped like a fetus.
Those that know not those, and it shows when we broke out the knock hoes, hopped out they clothes. That's positive feedback. Yup, the pros are poised. We never pose. You'll never know. From 93 till infinity, we've been inventive. Creating the bump is our only incentive, and it's been a long time since I feel I've been felt. But the only thing I fear is fear itself. So you know what we got to do? Maybe could we keep it within the crew like it should be? Never giving out. We living out our dreams. If it's something I can't live without, that's my team. You never knew. Hieroglyphics, hip-hop is vintage. Underground like silos, walking long-range ballistics. World-renowned, we groundbreaking. Musical boundaries, running circles around the scene. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks to you.
Gotta come to California. Playground.
Okay.
Yeah.
For more than a decade, on to the next stage. While MCs need aid, stay paid. I'm still great. Hey, none of that tomfoolery. As you can see, this shit ain't nothing new to me. Utterly hovering over other things material. You stuck in the here and now. Plus you're sweating profusely. Here's a towel. Your fears are now reality. When I take your dream states and elaborate on how your team's fake. Like phony IDs, but sometimes I feel like only I see through the charade you made in today. But hey, tomorrow is played, and then they got a new fool in your place to be okay.
Axel, flat track, your first time, how was it?
Super fun. It's kind of scary. You're going like 70 through sliding corner, and if you high side, I think you could get pretty wrecked. So that was the scariest part, but It was super fun. It was just different. No jumps and no traction, so just learning how to slide the bike and do that. It was fun.
How did Axel do on flat track first time?
He's very fast already, very good control with the throttle, easy in way. So he need to come 2 or 3 times with us, and he can race with us without a problem.
Do you like riding motocross?
I like very much.
Okay.
And I ride the motocross bike mainly during the winter, out of the season, because for us it's very dangerous, and I had already a lot of problem, injury with the motocross bike.
Okay.
So when I ride motocross bike, all the guys that work with me are not very happy.
December 18th, 1944. The U.S. Supreme Court rules on the forced relocation and detention of Japanese Americans during World War II. While the High Court upholds the relocation, it adds Americans of Japanese ancestry who are undeniably loyal can no longer be detained. More than 4 decades later, the U.S. government apologizes for its policy and pays money to surviving Japanese Americans. 1972, during the Vietnam War, the United States begins 12 days of heavy bombing of North Vietnamese targets. A ceasefire agreement ending America's military role in its longest war is reached the following month. 1946. Movie director and producer Steven Spielberg is born in Cincinnati. Just a few of his many popular films: Jaws, E.T., Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List, and Saving Private Ryan. And 1892. The Nutcracker, the ballet by Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky, publicly premieres in St. Petersburg, Russia. Today in History, December 18th. Ross Simpson, The Associated Press.
fastest. Oh, stop! Stop! Stop!
Renault Zoe, the best-selling electric vehicle in Europe.
On Sunday, the 1st of May 1955, a silver Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR entered the Mille Miglia, a 1,000-mile road race from Brescia to Rome and back. Behind the wheel, English driver Stirling Moss. Beside him, his navigator, Dennis Jenkinson, a fearless duo who regularly reached speeds of over 170 miles per hour along the public road route.
Driving a 3-litre Mercedes from Brescia, down the coast, across to Rome and north again, he went like the wind all the way.
They were so fast that even the planes filming from above couldn't keep up. Just 10 hours, 7 minutes and 48 seconds later, they were back in Brescia, roaring across the finishing line.
He finished over half an hour ahead of world champion Fangio. The first Briton to win this race, Moss had scored a supreme triumph.
This record-breaking time has never been beaten, and Stirling remains the only British driver to ever win this iconic race.
I think my best race certainly was the Mille Miglia. I mean, the only guarantee we had was the finest car ever built. I mean, the 300 SLR is probably the greatest sports car ever built by anybody, any time. To drive for Mercedes was fantastic.
But now, the time has come for a well-earned rest and pride of place back in the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Stuttgart, Germany. That is, after one last blast. Somewhere it's never driven before. Somewhere that's never echoed to the sound of its thunderous 3-litre straight-eight engine. Somewhere Sir Stirling loved and where he lived for more than 60 years. It was here, in London, where Stirling Moss's 1955 Mille Miglia journey actually began, when he set off for Italy at the wheel of another Mercedes-Benz, the beautiful 300 SL Coupe. The Gullwing. His Gullwing. That Gullwing. And of course, there can be only one place and time where this journey finishes. At the Moss family home, and at the time the SLR started its record run in 1955. The time that gave the car its famous race number. 7:22 in the morning. 7:22.
I race because I love racing. As a sport, it was something very special. I can't think of any life that's better than being a professional racing driver. And the original 300 SLR was probably the finest sports car ever built. Quite incredible. I mean, it really was a most wonderful machine to drive.
Turning guitar players into rock stars, the Fender Stratocaster was instrumental in the evolution of rock and roll. Buddy Holly, Clapton, and Hendrix were rarely seen without their signature guitar.
We say it's the sounds that create legends.
In production for 60 years, the Strat has left its mark on every decade.
If you ask somebody to draw an electric guitar, a lot of times they'll draw a Stratocaster shape.
From strummers to shredders, this guitar can do it all.
You go through the list from the heaviest hardcore and punk bands to the most sophisticated jazz and lounge bands, and the Fender guitar just seems to work for all of them.
After 60 years of manufacturing, Fender still holds to top quality materials. Before a single string is strung, Fender picks the wood for the neck and body.
Fender has mostly made all of its guitar bodies out of either ash or alder.
The choice of wood for the body affects the sound of the guitar.
With the woods that a Fender uses, it creates that more sparkly, jangly, kind of brilliant tone, and is what everybody knows and loves about a Fender.
First, the wood for the body is cut down to size to make it easier to work with. Two pieces are glued together, and then it's cut on a CNC machine.
After the table goes in through the machine, it's going to start cutting the perimeter, cutting the pockets. Pretty much it's going to give us 80% of the body work.
The CNC machine means perfect cuts every time.
Everything's precision cut so that we have perfect alignment and the guitar sets up perfectly.
Next, the body is sanded to bring out the famous contours.
That really is something that has to be a hand operation.
Sanding the Strat is no simple task.
It goes through multiple areas, and a Stratocaster is pretty challenging to sand because there's some tight corners and some smaller areas.
After the body has been sanded, it's ready for painting. The neck is also shaped on a CNC machine, but is made from a stronger, harder wood than the body to stand up to the extra strain.
We use maple for all of our necks, and maple is an extremely hard, robust wood.
A groove is cut where a metal truss rod will be inserted to make the neck stronger.
We put a piece of metal inside of it that actually serves to counteract the force that the strings are putting on the guitar.
From there, the neck moves on to the delicate process of fretting.
The frets are the lines that force the string to bend over that line to play that note.
Frets are wire strips made of a copper alloy that are placed at exact intervals along the neck. The strips are cut to fit the width of the guitar neck and then hammered into place.
They have to be in perfectly so they don't lift out. They have to be completely flat.
Even the slightest mistake could change a guitar's sound, and not for the better.
If one of the frets is a little bit higher, just by a couple thousandths of an inch, it will affect the ability of the rest of the guitar to play.
The back of the neck is sanded and shaped before being coated with a protective glaze.
That's the most tactile part of the guitar, and you need that to feel like a comfortable old pair of jeans or an old baseball glove.
At this stage, the neck is nearly finished, but the body still needs a paint job. It starts with an undercoat.
The undercoat seals the wood and gets it ready for paint.
Precision is the name of the game with undercoating.
Instead of the inconsistencies in painting just with a spray gun, we use robotic undercoat painting.
After the undercoat, the body is scuff sanded.
And after we scuff sand it, that's just to give the paint something to bite to, and then it goes into paint.
Paint is where the Stratocaster gets its signature sunburst design.
The sunburst is one of the most iconic Fender finishes. It's what the Stratocaster debuted with in 1954.
The process of adding the sunburst is one left to highly skilled painters.
It's a very delicate balance because you can't have it overspray, you can't have it go too far. It's a real subtle gradient and transition.
The guitar is then sealed with a clear coat and hung to dry for several days.
You know, the guitar is something that you kind of can't rush, and there's no substitute for time.
The thickness of the finish has to be just right. It has to look amazing and be durable without compromising sound.
The more finish you put on it to make it look like a mirror, the more the wood is encased and the less the wood will reverberate and sing.
The Stratocaster has been the symbol of rock and roll since the 1950s, all thanks to music lover Leo Fender. Leo put guitarists front and center.
You know, guitarists weren't lead guitarists in the 40s. They were in the back of the band with the drums and the bass, playing a rhythm roll.
In 1946, Leo founded Fender. His first guitar was a lap steel model.
This man was driven. It was the most important thing. He worked 7 days a week. He mortgaged his house.
With the dawn of rock and roll, guitars needed a bigger sound. Enter Leo's Telecaster, Fender's first groundbreaking guitar.
The Telecaster changed modern music.
From country to jazz to rock and roll, the Telecaster was a part of the evolving music scene, and the technology behind the guitar evolved with it. The result of that evolution was the Stratocaster.
A lot of times it's like, did you invent the electric guitar? No, we really just changed it and popularized it.
Leo also made sure the Strat would last.
I see guitars all the time. They're 1954 Strats that have been in service since the day they were made.
Over its 60-year history, performers were dedicated to the guitar. Some, like Buddy Holly, followed by Jimi Hendrix, and then Eric Clapton, were rarely seen without their Strats strapped to their back. But before this guitar can be strapped to anyone's back, it needs to be put together.
There's the neck and the body. They come together, and that's what we call the area of final assembly, where the pickups are wound, where the electronics are all put together.
The 3 single-coil pickups have been a part of the Stratocaster since the beginning. A pickup is what takes the vibration of the strings and turns it into sound. The pickups work just like tiny microphones.
It operates just like a microphone would, and it takes the magnetic field and the responsive vibration of the strings and transfers that into sound.
The pickups, tone knobs, volume knob, and a switch to choose between the 3 pickups are attached to the body and then soldered together.
It's really one of our hallmarks. A large part of the Fender sound or mojo is really inside of these pickups.
This is the switch and the 3 pickups. Okay, this is how it looks on the front. when it's assembled.
A lot of people that make pickups today, they're all based off of original Fender designs.
And it's the heart of the guitar.
Next, the neck and body finally meet up.
Before Leo Fender created this modular guitar design, when the neck went bad, you threw it away. The guitar was done.
4 screws and a metal plate connecting the two pieces mean you can toss the neck without replacing the guitar. The hardware is then dropped into the body. The neck is tightened into place.
First step is setting the neck.
Then the guitar is strung. Then it's time for the tremolo arm, also known as a whammy bar. It's a lever that can create a vibrato effect.
Tremolo is that effect that kind of copies what a flamenco guitarist can do when they play single notes very fast, that natural vibrato effect.
It gives that sound, you know, when you, yeah.
Springs are added to hold the tremolo arm in place.
I'm gonna put 3 springs in the back, and that's gonna hold the tremolo.
Then it's on to final inspection. In this case, that means noodling on the guitar.
It's really played at every fret. It's bent all the way up the neck, and just to make sure that it's got perfect intonation, that it sounds right. You know, there are a million little things.
After passing inspection, the Stratocaster is ready to ship to guitar heroes new and old, to strum their favorites new and old.
For most people, it's the soundtrack to those milestones in life that are just the most memorable things. There's always a song that's running in the back of your mind, and the chances are those songs were written and performed on a Fender instrument.
Sports brand Reebok has made prehistory with their collaboration with bioengineering giant InGen Technologies, the corporation founded by the late John Hammond to construct the now abandoned Jurassic Park. Inspired by the research of controversial geneticist Dr. Henry Wu, the team, comprising of InGen scientists and footwear designers from Reebok, have extracted the DNA of dinosaurs that once roamed Jurassic Park on Isla Nublar and spliced it with Reebok's own archive of sneakers, creating a collaboration some 65 million years in the making. The ethics of InGen's technology have previously been called into question by other academics, and though the project represents a huge leap forward in both genetic engineering and sneaker design, past events surrounding InGen and Dr. Wu have caused concern amongst some Reebok designers. One insider from the project reached out to us to voice their concern.
And before we even knew what we had patented it, packaged it, and slapped it in a shoebox. We were so preoccupied with whether we could, we didn't stop to think if we should.
Hold on to your butts, a full report coming soon. Next up, a hero donkey saves a popcorn vendor from a stampede at a petting zoo in Wyoming.
like my lullaby. La Luna, they let you treat your sadness with a smile. You can't have what's next till you hang with it for a while. This is house arrest. Come but wear your Sunday best. This is house arrest. La da di da di da da. I learned how to measure before I knew what was size. I sing you to sleep. Do you like my lullaby? La Luna, they let you treat your sadness with a smile. You can have what's next till you hang with it for a while. This is house arrest. Come to wear your Sunday best. This is house arrest. La da di da di da da. This is house arrest. This is house arrest. Come to wear your Sunday best. This is house arrest. La da di da di da da. I decided not to leave my house and go outside. I helped myself sweetly, made myself a lullaby. This won't last forever, treat your sadness with a smile. We can't have what's next till we hang inside for a while. This is house arrest. Stay but wear your Sunday best. This is house arrest. La da di da di da. This is house
numb the pain. Kiss the sky and we'll make it rain. Getting close, breaking through. Confidence looks good on you. Feel the light, numb the pain. Kiss the sky and we'll make it rain. I can feel the power running through my veins, getting louder, calling out my name, and it feels like sunlight in the night sky. It shines on my mind. You do me, I do you. Feed me lies and we'll find the truth.
High and low, snow falling through the window. Hans is preaching on the radio. I'm in limbo, sofa surfing, after show. Time to kill, dancing disco, sleeping pill. I'm in limbo. I'm in limbo. Oh, I'm in limbo. Dancing disco. Dancing disco. Sleeping pill. I'm in limbo. I'm in limbo. Oh, I'm in limbo. Dancing disco. Dancing disco.
Despite the rain and despite the snow, Hans will not stop.
Living the dream, high and low, snow falling through the window.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
The number you have dialed has been changed.
Best place to find a lover, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends sat at the table doing shots, drinking fast, and then we talk slow. And you come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand, stop, find the man on the jukebox, and then we start to dance. I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. Oh, I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is is falling too. I'm in love with your body. And last night you were in my room. And now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Oh, I'm in love with your body. Oh, sing it out for me, I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of when we can. We let the story begin. We're going out on our first date. You and me are thrifty, so go where you can eat. Fill up your bag and I fill up your plate. We talk for hours and hours about the sweet and the sour and how your family is doing okay. And leaving, getting a taxi and kissing the backseat. Tell the driver, make the radio play. I'm singing like, girl, you know I want your love. Your love was handmade for somebody like me. Come on now, follow my lead. I may be crazy, don't mind me. Say, boy, let's not talk too much. Grab on my waist and put that body on me. Come on now, follow my lead. Come on now, follow my lead. Oh, I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. And last night you were in my room. And now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. Hey, I'm in love with your body. Oh, I'm in love with your body. Oh, I'm in love with your body. I'm in love with your body. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with the shape of you. Come on, be my baby. Come on, 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 come on, be my baby. Come on. Oh, I'm in love with the shape of you. We push and pull like a magnet do. Although my heart is falling too. I'm in love with your body. Now. Last night you were in my room. And now my bedsheets smell like you. Every day discovering something brand new. I'm in love with your body. Come on, be my baby. Come on, come on. Oh, I'm in love with your body. Oh, now. Oh, I'm in love with your body. Come on, be my baby. Come on, come on. Oh, I'm in love with your body. Every day discovering something brand new. Oh, I'm in love with the shape of you. When I was 6 years old, I broke my leg. I was running from my brother and his friends. Tasted the sweet perfume of the mountain grass I rolled down. I was younger then. Take me back to when I found my heart, broke it here, made friends and lost them through the years. And I've not seen the rolling fields in so long. I know I've gone, but I can't wait to go home. And I'm on my way, driving at 90 down the country lane, singing to Tiny Dancer. And I miss the way you make me feel. It's real when we watch the sunset over the castle lonely. 15 years old, smoking and rolled cigarettes, running from the law through the backfields and getting drunk with my friends. And my first kiss on a Friday night, I don't reckon that I did it right. I was younger then. Take me back to when we found weekend jobs, when we got paid. We One friend left to sell clothes and one works down by the coast. One had 2 kids but lives alone. One's brother overdosed. One's already on his 2nd wife. One's just barely getting by. These people erase me and I can't wait to go home and I'm on my way.
Welcome back in our studio, and in today's news